welcome to this new weekly forex analysis. We're going to be having a look at DXY and GU as well as EU going into next week. All right, so um, first of all, starting with DXY, we're going to be looking at the weekly time frame first. All right, so notice this rejection block. All right, price came up into it, rejected off of it, and pushed lower. Right, we can look at that on the daily time frame. Right here, all right, push lower, invert this fair value up here. We saw this fair value up, bearish fair value up getting respected last week, pushing lower, took out all these lows here, all right, big displacement here, causing a bearish fair value up here, all right, and price closed right there on Friday, all right. So going into next week, this is looking very bearish in my opinion. I'm expecting this fair value to get filled at some point. I marked out this breaker block on the 4-hour time frame, as you can see here as well. Right? So you see price, you see this acting as an order block at first, with price retracing back into it, having a bullish reaction off of it, retracing back into the daily fair value gap, and dumping, inverting this low, and we can treat this as our breaker block. Right? So we can expect price to retrace back into that, and after that, push lower. What levels am I looking at? Well, we got the high of this fair value here. Pretty small fair value gap, but that's the level I want to look. I'm expecting price to reach. And lower, we got this low right here. Alright, so I'm actually going to have one more target, which is going to be the low of this body here. That's a low I want to see price reaching next week. We don't have to come all the way to this low. That's why I'm marking out the body. If this is going to be a rejection block or some level between the body and the wick where we're going to find some support, I rather mark out this low as a target, the low of the body here instead of the wick. So I'm gonna keep these both targets here. That's fine. But yeah, we're gonna be looking at lower prices for DXY. All right. With that being said, let's have a look at GU. If we're bearish on DXY, we know that we're bullish for GU. We got the same rejection block here, so bullish one obviously here on the weekly time frame. All right, I'll also marked out this bearish fair value up here with quadrants, so took the high here, gotta include that little volume imbalance, and the low here, there's small volume imbalance here as well, as you can see. So that's your fair value gap, bearish fair value gap. You see price reacting off the constant encroachment here, sending price lower, taking all this also liquidity. All right, and yeah, look at this here also. Invert fair value up here, gotta include that volume imbalance here. Price inverted that, came back, retraced, constant encroachment, and sent price higher. All right, so if we take a look at daily time frame, it's even more clear. So we did have that big displacement here, same on DXY, but this time it's bullish, and I am expecting like DXY this to get filled and maybe send price higher. All right, for targets, we're gonna be looking at the lower quadrant here, this high obviously, all these relative equal highs up here. We got constant encroachment of that just below it, and finally the upper quadrant of that weekly imbalance. Okay, so I invite you to screenshot this or maybe mark these out on your own chart, but definitely have those targets noted somewhere. All right, keep that in mind. And moving on to EU finally, EU has been looking slightly worse than GU, to be totally honest. On the weekly, we've retraced back into this bullish fair value gap, so that's reclaimed fair value gap. We have the same imbalance here, gonna include these two volume imbalances. So marked out the quadrants, and let's drop down to the daily time frame here. Same fair value up here, okay? So might expect that to get filled and push price higher. we're gonna be looking at this high here, this first high. We got a little volume bounce here, as you can see, but we got a lower quadrant just above that, and consequent encroachment of that weekly gap, and this high just above it, okay? And finally, the upper quadrant right here, okay? So those are gonna be my targets for next week. And yeah, hope you find value in this vid, and I'll see you guys next week.